Zach Wilson has been traded to the Broncos, and I'm not super excited about it. It doesn't cost him much. So we'll kind of start right there that the Broncos are giving up virtually nothing. It is a bag of peanuts, and I think you can make a good argument for the bag of peanuts over Zach Wilson. The jokes also write themselves, but the trade goes down as a minimal day 3 pick swap. So if your reasoning for trading for Zach Wilson that you don't like it is because they gave up too much, stop. They gave up nothing. They gave up a 6 and got a 7th back. They moved back about 50 spots in the draft. So they have the honor to pick someone that will be off the team at 256 instead of 207 within the next 3 years. So before I give you the nuts and bolts of the trade and my reaction to it, this is why you subscribe to the channel. We're live right now here on the Broncos Breakdown reacting to this trade. So anytime big news goes down, we go live here. We get you guys a video as soon as possible. So make sure to subscribe so you do not miss out on more breaking news coming out throughout the NFL draft. Now, let's get into my reaction to the trade. No risk. Like, we can just kind of look at it that way. I just think it's embarrassing. I just think for a team and a franchise that has had such turbulence at the quarterback position since Peyton Manning retired, just optics-wise, it looks awful, and Broncos country across the country are just getting shit from all their coworkers and friends and family. Like, oh my goodness. Imagine a Broncos quarterback battle of Jarrett Stidham, Ben DiNucci, and Zach Wilson. I sure hope that's not going to be the quarterback battle. I don't think trading for Zach Wilson removes you from drafting a quarterback. But just the optics-wise, it doesn't help out a fan base that has been the laughingstock of looking for a quarterback for the last 10 years almost now. And your solution, the only move you made so far is, let's go get Zach Wilson, the failed 2nd overall pick of the draft. I mean, there's no argument that Zach Wilson has been a major disappointment with the Jets. And I've seen him play for 3 seasons now where I can confidently say, I don't think he's turning a corner. Now, Zach Wilson, when you look at the play style, this is what really makes me scratch my head if I'm Sean Payton. He's a worse Russell Wilson. Like, when you go back to what Sean Payton was infuriated by that Russell Wilson did, it was hold on to the football too long, specifically taking too many sacks, and not staying on schedule. Go talk to Jets fans about Zach Wilson's biggest weaknesses. Everything I just said about Russell Wilson last year applies to Zach Wilson. So I'm failing to see how Zach Wilson is going to bring anything to this quarterback room that Sean Payton is going to like. Now, Sean Payton does have a history of saving quarterbacks' careers a little bit. I don't want to give him all the credit, but you go back to his early days, like with the Giants, Kerry Collins. I mean, the older folks watching this right now will remember that Kerry Collins did not have a great start to his career and was looking like he'd be out of the league within 5-6 seasons. He ends up playing, 15 years in the NFL? And a big reason was because of Sean Payton in New York. Drew Brees with the San Diego Chargers suffers a shoulder injury, and it's not like Drew Brees was chopped liver. He was the first pick in round 2 when he got drafted. He was highly pursued in free agency by New Orleans and, ready for this, Nick Saban in Miami. Ultimately, why Saban left the Dolphins, because he didn't get Drew Brees. But still, Brees comes over after a major shoulder injury, and we all know what the rest of the history has entailed for him in New Orleans. And then you had Teddy Bridgewater, a guy who suffered a horrific injury with the Vikings, and he goes down to New Orleans, backs up Brees, starts a few games for Drew when he gets injured, and then he gets a big payday from the Carolina Panthers and, of course, plays for the Broncos. So I do want to be a little bit of an optimist, and that's just kind of the way I've always been as a sports fan. But I'm really struggling to wrap my head around this one being a move that results in any type of good play for the Denver Broncos. Do you like trading for Zach Wilson? Yes or no? For me, I'm not too upset about it other than just the optics of like this fan base has already been through so much and now you're putting them through the jokes that are coming. Like the moment Zach Wilson got traded from the Jets to the Broncos, producer Sam Brown here at Chat Sports was like, well, at least he'll be closer to home and all of his friends' moms. Like, the jokes just don't stop coming. Now, this could signal a slight draft strategy. I don't think trading for Zach Wilson means we're not getting a quarterback. If it does, I'll throw up. My suspicion is this is Denver going, we have a pretty good idea of where quarterbacks are going to go. And unless some things break our way, we may not get our top guy. So better now to add to the quarterback room than wait until after the draft when maybe Zach Wilson got shipped off somewhere else and then there's really no one left. And then it is Jarrett Stidham and Ben DiNucci competing for the starting job. I think that adding Zach Wilson does not prohibit the Broncos from drafting a quarterback. If it does, we're going to actually have a riot in our hands. We are going to storm the palace. Okay? I'll be the Shanghai Shaq if I have to. But I do not think that adding him means we're not drafting a QB. I just think it means we have a backup plan. And that's not a bad thing to have. You should always have plan B. Right? Plan B is a good plan. Right? Not as good as plan A, but still good to have plan B. I think that's all what this is. I'm also just kind of hoping that's all what this is. All right, before we get on to the rest of today's show and reaction, quick word from our friends at Game Time. Spring is here, which means we've got baseball, playoff basketball, playoff hockey, and you should not have to miss any of the action for Denver sports or any other sporting team in your local area, plus concerts and so much more. And download the Game Time app today, and they're going to give you guys $20 off when you use code CHATSPORTS when entering and signing up for Game Time. Now, one of my favorite features about Game Time is the all-in price option. You don't have to get fooled by clicking through a whole bunch of tickets and getting to the checkout portion and realizing with taxes and fees, the ticket price nearly doubles. With Game Time, you can actually see that price right from the start. So download Game Time today and use that code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. It's basically like Game Time is going to take care of your parking or your first concession run. So I put all that information in the comments and description of today's video. But download Game Time today. Terms apply. But again, use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. CHAT Sports. Shout out to Game Time for supporting us here at the Broncos Breakdown. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Now, let's talk about drafting a quarterback because I still think that has to be accomplished in this draft. Where, I don't know. Whether that's at pick number 12, whether that's trading back and acquiring a second rounder, or whether that's waiting till pick 76 in round 3. Those appear to be the three most likely options to acquire a quarterback. And I would say all three have close to an equal probability of happening. I think the least likely is picking a QB at 12. I think the most likely is trading back and getting one in round 2. And in the middle, Mama Bear would be waiting until 76. But this could be a trade that signals Denver may be bracing for missing out on a quarterback. This could be a trade of just in case we can't make that trade back. We try our best, but no one wants a 12th overall pick for whatever reason, and we can't get into round 2. And Bo Nix and Michael Penix, our top 2 guys in that round, are gone before our pick at 76. It's not a very good backup plan. It's not a very good consolation prize in Zach Wilson, but at least it's better than having no backup plan. The Broncos, I'll say right now, and this is not a hot take, ready? They have to draft a quarterback. They have to draft a quarterback. I don't think it should be at pick 12. I don't think it should be forcing a quarterback selection. But you got to bring someone in. You got to throw a dart at the board. And maybe you get bullseye, maybe not. But they have to bring someone in. A quarterback room of Jarrett Stidham, Zach Wilson, and Ben DiNucci is the biggest middle finger to this fan base after dumping Russell Wilson, who I'll confidently say is better than all three of those quarterbacks. He just is. Was he so much better that the contract was worth it? No. But you already paid the man, so you might as well get the best quarterback play possible. But at Sean Payton, pressure's on because he's the one that engineered this entire operation to move on from Russell Wilson. And so far, we haven't seen him bring an upgrade in. And he's got one last opportunity to do that in the draft. And there's a good chance he will. But if he doesn't, what was the point of moving on from Russell Wilson? Sure, if you know it's not going to work, better to move on now than later. But also, you're just going to waste everyone's time for a season, getting worse quarterback play and paying a guy like it's freaking Moneyball $35 million to play on the other side of the Mississippi River. Now, quick reminder as I kind of come down from my TED Talk here. New uniforms for the Broncos. I like the new unis. I do think it's a little bit bizarre that they decided to drop these new uniforms 20, 30 minutes before releasing the throwback uniforms that they will have for this year, which I would say as a country, people collectively like the throwbacks more than the new unis. Like, they really kind of dunked on their own uniforms with throwback uniforms. So timing wasn't great. I'll also add the timing of this trade when already some of the fan base wasn't on board with the jerseys. And I know you got to be bigger than the fans. To trade for Zach Wilson, like, you dealt a lot of people some really bad news today. If they didn't like the unis and they didn't like the trade, you're not really generating a whole lot of positive buzz about this team going into the draft with maybe back-to-back bad moves. So I know it's their job to make the tough decisions, but I like the new uniforms. I said in like the leaked video we did last week that it's tough to gauge what uniforms will look like based on just like pictures from the lab versus them actually on players. But actually seeing them on like Javonte Williams, that reminds me too. Courtland Sutton was not in the video, and some people use that as pretty decent ammunition to believe a Courtland Sutton trade could happen, whereas Patrick Surtain was all over the video. So good chance they're not going to move on from Surtain. However, the Broncos team official store opened up with the new uniforms, and there were Courtland Sutton jerseys in there. So I don't think Denver is actively shopping a Sutton trade, but that doesn't mean if they get an offer they can't refuse, they won't say yes to it. So before we get on out of here, I'll toss this your way. Do you like the new uniforms? Yes or no? I like them. I think the bottom line is they are better than the previous uniforms. They may not be the top 5. They aren't top 5 in the NFL, but they're definitely better. So I think an improvement was made. So for that reason, I'll give a yes. But that's what I was saying earlier. Maybe space out potential bad news. Like, was Zach Wilson going anywhere? Could you trade it for him tomorrow so that it wasn't like back-to-back blows and just the internet dunking on the Broncos within a span of 4 hours? So that will do it for us on our breakdown of the Zach Wilson trade. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to subscribe down below in the comment section, or make sure to hit scroll on down, hit the sub button above the comment section.